Everyone despises me. That's a fact I've come to accept. But here's what people refuse to acknowledge. Hatred is reserved for those who succeed. And the failures? They only receive pity. Olivia Carter, my baby sister, belongs to the latter group. I reclined in my high-end leather chair, ankles crossed, my designer McQueen dress accentuating my meticulously maintained physique. The spacious chambers of Caldwell and Associates carried the rich aroma of seasoned wood and a stifling tension. Yet I remained composed. The conclusion was already clear to me. The entirety of the estate is bequeathed to Kiley Carter. Mr. Caldwell's announcement resonated, each syllable delivered cautiously, as if treading on fragile ground. How charming! I struggled to suppress my amusement. My sister, Olivia, or Liv, our mother's preferred name for her, was seated opposite me. Her face remained stoic. No trace of anguish. And that disturbed me. I yearned to witness her suffering. I wanted to see despair flood those eyes. But Olivia simply sat there, fingers intertwined in her lap. Why wasn't she protesting? Why wasn't she pleading? I cocked my head, my tone dripping with artificial concern, though the underlying satisfaction was evident. I'm truly sorry, Liv. But you're aware who Father always relied on, aren't you? She raised her gaze, her storm-gray eyes meeting mine. There's no need to state the obvious, Kiley. No quivering. No vulnerability. As she stood and departed, an odd sensation washed over me, like something was amiss. She didn't shed a tear. Not even one. And that left me disconcerted. I struggled to recall when I last had autonomy over my decisions. Perhaps during childhood, when selecting pink over black was still permissible, until Father declared powerful women shouldn't resemble innocent children. Or possibly when I dreamed of studying art at university, until Father destroyed my application and thrust finance coursework upon me. Choice was never mine to make. There existed only one trajectory, becoming the flawless successor to Carter Enterprises. My father's love for me differed from his affection for Olivia, which was gentle. His love manifested through molding, through drowning me in demands, through forcing me into treacherous waters to learn survival. If I gasped for air, he observed silently. If I floundered, he smiled knowingly. And if I surfaced, he approved quietly, confident in my resilience. I grasped this reality young. Weakness had no place in this world. And Olivia? She remained oblivious to this truth. Since birth, Olivia had been cocooned in our mother's unconditional affection, a love I never experienced. She was granted liberties I could only dream of, the freedom to pursue her aspirations, the permission to falter, and the assurance that our mother's arms would always welcome her back when life became overwhelming. And what about me? When I stumbled, my mother remained a distant spectator. Her eyes held only disappointment, not for my pain, but because I failed to embody the daughter she had envisioned. Victory should have tasted sweet. Yet, as I navigated my Aston Martin through Manhattan streets, realization struck. This triumph felt hollow. The company was mine. The wealth was mine. The influence was mine. So why did success feel like defeat? The simplicity of my conquest unsettled me. Too effortless. And that filled me with dread. My phone vibrated with Olivia's message. Would you meet me tomorrow morning? There's something you need to know. I nearly scoffed. Did she honestly believe I would be interested? Yet curiosity gnawed at me. I needed to understand Olivia's next move. The following morning, I arrived at Olivia's residence in Boston's suburbs. A modest house lacking the security features I deemed essential. No bulletproof glass, no protective iron barriers. I had anticipated finding Olivia in some dilapidated apartment after her losses. Instead, she had owned this property for 3 years. Free and clear. No financial obligations. The revelation disturbed me. Olivia greeted me with a subtle smile. I appreciate you coming, Kiley. I studied her intently. Something felt off. Inside, documents covered the table. I reached for them. My pulse faltered. Corporate ownership certificates, financial statements, investment agreements, all bearing Olivia's name. I looked up, bewildered. Olivia deliberately turned a document toward me. Mother left everything in my name, Kiley. My carefully constructed world shattered. The papers before me told an impossible story. Olivia possessed her own assets. Olivia controlled her own enterprise. Olivia commanded an empire that had existed in shadows. Inconceivable. Fighting to maintain composure, I managed to ask, "What exactly is this?" Olivia's response, a smile that ignited rage within me. "Did you honestly believe I was incompetent, Kiley?" My fingers curled into fists. "Why would Mom entrust everything to you?" I demanded. Olivia responded casually. "Perhaps because she recognized your lack of genuine family loyalty." I stilled. Not from her words' impact, but recognizing Olivia's deliberate provocation. I refused to be manipulated by her tactics. Control remained mine. Olivia wouldn't orchestrate my downfall so easily. Departing her house, my mind raced with countless strategies. If Mother had truly bequeathed everything to Olivia, I would find a way to reclaim it all. I had to uncover Olivia's vulnerabilities. I had to discover any flaws in Mother's testament. I had to demolish Olivia's reputation before she could ascend further. I refused to accept defeat without resistance. The following morning, I summoned an urgent conference with my attorneys. "We must contest my mother's will," I commanded. "Identify any weakness that could benefit my position." One of the veteran attorneys, Mr. Harrison, repositioned his spectacles. "Kiley, your mother's testament is impenetrable. We've examined it thoroughly." I released an icy chuckle. "Perfection doesn't exist, Mr. Harrison. However, I don't compensate you for excuses. I require results." Harrison's throat bobbed nervously. "We'll conduct another review." I inclined my head, experiencing a trace of triumph. I dismissed Olivia's apparent victory. I would strip everything from her grasp. When Olivia revealed to the media her plans to expand her investment firm, I recognized my opportunity. I would devastate her standing. I orchestrated a confidential meeting with John Marshall, a principal investor in Carter Enterprises. "I require your assistance," I stated, lowering my wine glass. John observed me thoughtfully. "What's your request, Kiley?" "I want Olivia's market credibility destroyed." John's laugh was knowing. "You're prepared to take such measures?" My grip tightened around the crystal stem. "Whatever it takes." 3 days passed before the headlines emerged in New York Business Weekly. Investigation launched into Olivia Carter's company for financial irregularities. Whistleblower alleges suspicious trading in Olivia's investment fund. Questioning the true nature of Olivia Carter? I reclined in satisfaction. I had orchestrated Olivia's downfall. Now I awaited her destruction. But Olivia's counteroffensive caught me unprepared. The subsequent day, Olivia conducted an emergency media briefing. From my office, I watched the broadcast intently. She maintained perfect composure, her steel-gray eyes radiating assurance. "These accusations against my company are baseless," she declared resolutely. "Transparency has always been my principle." The journalists appeared convinced. Then she delivered her devastating blow. Freezing my core. "I possess evidence proving Kiley Carter orchestrated these allegations." She displayed numerous papers. Documentation of my correspondence with John Marshall. I leaped from my seat. Impossible. This couldn't be happening. I had been meticulous. How had Olivia obtained those records? Kiley believed she could manipulate me. But I've evolved beyond her perception. Olivia addressed the camera directly. My hands trembled with fury. She had anticipated my strategy. She had outmaneuvered me. The press turned hostile. Is Kiley Carter orchestrating her sister's downfall? Carter Enterprises heiress threatened by Olivia's success? Kiley, the woman who can't handle competition? My teeth sank into my lower lip until I tasted metallic warmth. I had gravely miscalculated Olivia's capabilities. I had been excessively confident in my inevitable triumph. But for the first time since I could remember, I was experiencing the bitter taste of defeat. I strode out of my office, retrieved my phone, and dialed a familiar number. "Daniel." A gravelly voice responded. "What's your request, Kiley?" I inhaled sharply, my tone glacial. "I need to ensure Olivia never tastes victory again." Silence lingered on the line. Then, Daniel's dark chuckle filled my ear. Are you prepared to cross that line? My fingers clenched around the phone, knuckles whitening. I see no alternative. Daniel's soft laughter echoed. Brace yourself, Kiley. We're initiating a conflict with no retreat. I terminated the call, collapsing into my executive chair. Olivia might have claimed this round, but the final victory would be mine. I had relinquished too much to reach this position. My sister wouldn't strip me of everything I'd built. Whatever the price. I required something to annihilate Olivia completely. The previous allegations proved insufficient for her downfall. Perhaps something more scandalous would suffice? I contacted one of my media connections. I need a story. Something impossible to dismiss. He wavered. What's your angle, Kiley? My lips curved into a ruthless smile. I want everyone to see through Olivia's pristine facade. Daniel wasn't merely a fallen financial expert. He specialized in excavating buried secrets. Within 3 days, he delivered a file. I accessed it. Instantly, I recognized my ultimate weapon. Olivia had concealed a love child. The paternity remained mysterious. For 3 years, she'd maintained this secret from public knowledge. A quiet laugh escaped my lips. Someone like Olivia, who cultivated an immaculate image, would crumble under this revelation. I transmitted the file to New York Business Weekly, attaching a brief message. Your paragon harbors darker secrets than you imagine. Then I awaited the inevitable chaos. By dawn, media channels exploded. Explosive revelation. Olivia Carter's hidden child scandal? Perfect image shattered. The truth behind Olivia's facade? What other secrets does Olivia Carter conceal? From my office, I monitored the television, anticipating Olivia's response. And then, she surprised me yet again. Instead of retreating, she scheduled a press conference. I gazed intently at the screen. There stood Olivia, adorned in an immaculate white ensemble, her hair elegantly swept back, encircled by a sea of journalists. Yet she maintained remarkable composure. Yes, I am indeed a mother, Olivia declared with unwavering confidence. A deafening stillness descended upon the room. I chose privacy to shield my daughter from the relentless media spotlight. But if anyone believes this revelation will be my undoing. Olivia's gaze pierced directly into the camera. They are gravely mistaken. Thunderous applause filled the air. My fingers tightened around the crystal stem of my wine glass. She had masterfully transformed my attack into her triumph. What should have been her downfall became her elevation, from a scandal-plagued executive to an embodiment of maternal strength. And I had committed a grave tactical error. In the aftermath of her press conference, Olivia's corporate shares skyrocketed. Public sentiment surged overwhelmingly in her favor. Olivia Carter, redefining modern women leadership. From controversy to inspiration, the Olivia Carter story. I violently hurled the remote against the table. My grip on the situation had slipped. Once again, I had underestimated Olivia's resilience. But this wouldn't be the conclusion. My retaliation would be merciless. I needed to devise a strategy that would permanently cripple Olivia's influence. I reached for my phone, dialing Daniel. I require something more devastating. Something that will obliterate Olivia permanently. His momentary silence was followed by a sinister laugh. Let's orchestrate her arrest. My breath caught. Elaborate. We'll construct irrefutable evidence. A financial scandal she can't possibly survive. I closed my eyes, feeling surges of anticipation course through me. This would be the ultimate strike. An FBI investigation would annihilate her presence in the financial sphere. My eyes snapped open. Execute it. The stakes were too high for retreat. If Olivia wasn't destroyed, my own destruction was inevitable. This world wasn't big enough for both of us. This time, failure wasn't an option. I would ensure Olivia Carter's complete destruction. From my darkened office, overlooking Manhattan's glittering skyline, my thoughts centered solely on Olivia's demise. Daniel's message arrived. Everything's prepared. The evidence is complete. I accessed the attachment. Meticulously forged financial documents. Expertly manipulated transactions. An undeniable trail leading to Olivia. Every detail was flawlessly crafted, compelling enough to demand FBI intervention. I inhaled deeply, savoring these final moments before chaos. After today, Olivia's reign would permanently end. I hit send. Anonymous tip submitted to FBI. And I waited. 48 hours later, media channels erupted. Breaking. FBI launches probe into Olivia Carter's enterprise. Corporate titan under scrutiny. Carter faces allegations of illicit trading. Carter Enterprises. Questions arise over international financial transactions. I released a soft chuckle, lifting my wine glass to my lips. The tables had turned. Olivia's image as the wronged, empathetic figure had shattered. She now stood accused. The following morning, Olivia received an FBI summons. From my vantage point, I observed the live coverage as she emerged from the federal building, her features strained, her steely eyes distant, yet maintaining her characteristic composure. She maintained her silence, offered no justification, showed no emotion. But beneath her facade, I sensed Olivia's fear. That knowledge satisfied me deeply. 7 days crawled by as I anticipated the media's destruction of Olivia. Yet she remained unshaken. Rather than retreating, Olivia boldly faced the nation through a televised appearance. I categorically deny these allegations, she stated with remarkable poise. I welcome the FBI's investigation to establish my innocence. My hands balled into fists. Impossible. Unthinkable. Olivia was leveraging the investigation to bolster her reputation. A clean investigation would only strengthen her position. I couldn't permit such an outcome. I reached for my phone. We require a full person. Daniel hesitated. Explain. Locate someone willing to take responsibility. Someone whose arrest will conclude this investigation. Olivia's escape wasn't an option. After a lengthy pause, Daniel's dark laugh echoed through the line. I've identified the perfect candidate. Within 3 days, they arrested Mark Reynolds, Olivia's financial chief. Carter Enterprise CFO in FBI custody. Questions surround Carter's role. Investigation deepens. True orchestrator still unknown. Satisfaction curved my lips. Despite Olivia's brave front, no corporation survives its financial leader's imprisonment. She would face isolation. Investor confidence would crumble. Her empire would descend into disarray. And then, I would strike decisively. I anticipated Olivia's capitulation. My assumption proved wrong. She counterattacked the very next day. My assistant burst into my office, ashen-faced. Ms. Carter, urgent news. I seized the tablet. A breaking news segment filled the screen. Mark Reynolds reveals shocking truth. I initiated playback. The footage showed an exhausted but resolute Mark Reynolds. I was coerced. I'm not the orchestrator. The true architect of the scheme is Kiley Carter. My heart thundered. Kiley Carter orchestrated this entire scheme. She meticulously planned every detail to ensure Olivia Carter would face investigation. And I possess irrefutable evidence. My lungs constricted. The display shifted to reveal a sequence of email exchanges, my correspondence with Daniel. Kiley Carter, we must ensure Olivia faces the consequences. Kiley Carter, I want immediate FBI involvement. Kiley Carter, if we require a scapegoat, identify someone outside our circle. An Arctic chill permeated my being. Impossible. Inconceivable. I had meticulously eliminated every trace. How had Mark accessed these communications? The recording concluded. Olivia materialized on screen. Her eyes pierced the camera with lethal precision. Kiley, if you believed you could orchestrate my downfall without repercussions, you were gravely mistaken. The screen dissolved to darkness. I remained paralyzed, sensation deserting my body. Control had slipped through my fingers. And now, I had become the quarry. Kiley, if you thought you could orchestrate my downfall without repercussions, you were gravely mistaken. Olivia's declaration reverberated in my consciousness like a death knell. Immobilized in my chair, I stared at the blank screen. The reality of what I'd witnessed refused to register. Evidence against my involvement. The damning emails to Daniel. Every trace I believed erased. Now exposed before the world. How had Olivia obtained them? How had she reversed our positions overnight? My fists clenched involuntarily, but this time, Control had evaporated. My phone vibrated. Daniel. I answered, my tone glacial. What have you done? His laughter chilled me. Did you truly believe you alone mastered this game, Kiley? My body tensed. You've betrayed me. No. I simply aligned with the victor. Fury ignited in my chest, quickly extinguished by paralyzing fear. What actions have you taken, Daniel? I ensured my survival. You won't escape consequences. You've lost all options, Kiley. His parting words sliced through me. Your arrest is imminent. Numbness engulfed me. Breaking news. FBI issues warrant for Kiley Carter's arrest. Kiley Carter faces accusations of securities fraud and evidence fabrication against sister. Has New York's power player finally met her downfall? Each headline intensified my mounting panic. The FBI was scrutinizing my financial history. Investors were withdrawing support. Carter Enterprises shareholders were initiating my removal. Everything was crumbling. I refused to accept defeat. Escape became imperative. New York had become a trap. Every exit point was monitored. I began packing essentials, destroying documents, and formulating an escape strategy. My offshore accounts held sufficient funds for disappearance. I merely needed to outmaneuver the FBI's pursuit. Arrange a private aircraft. Without delay, I reached the secluded airfield as midnight struck. The bitter wind sliced through my clothing, yet I remained numb. Escape was my sole focus. The aircraft stood prepared. I ascended the steps swiftly, but mere feet from the entrance. A piercing alarm shattered the silence. Harsh floodlights illuminated the entire airfield. FBI agents materialized from every direction. Kiley Carter, you're under federal arrest. I pivoted, sprinting toward the distant roadway. Within moments, a crushing impact struck my spine. My body slammed against concrete. The frigid tarmac pressed against my face. Steel clinked against my wrists. You have the right to remain silent. The restraints secured firmly. They had captured me. The following morning, a corrections officer delivered an envelope. I unsealed it. Within lay a brief message. You possessed everything, Kiley. Yet appreciation eluded you. This conclusion was your creation. Hatred isn't my motivation. But neither will I offer salvation. Farewell. The paper crumpled in my grasp. Defeat had claimed me. Not from insufficient intelligence, but from underestimating my adversary. Olivia had evolved beyond the fragile sister of my memory. She'd mastered combat. She'd perfected destruction. And I'd become her target. Motionless in my confined cell, artificial light casting strange patterns above. My entire empire, wealth, authority, dominance, vanished completely. Nothing remained but concrete barriers and impending judgment. For once, no escape route existed. The revelation struck deep. Victory isn't retaining everything. Victory means avoiding annihilation. And Olivia emerged triumphant. Regarding myself? Once I ruled the Carter dynasty supreme. Everything belonged to me: wealth, recognition, subordinate sphere. Now, imprisoned in this frozen cell, dim illumination flickering, each heartbeat echoing heavily. Defeat consumed me. Yet one question persists in your minds. Have I earned this punishment? Your hatred burns bright. You demand retribution. You seek my complete destruction. Consider this, though. My actions mirror society's standard practices. Survival demanded destruction. Victory required ruthlessness. Leadership couldn't accommodate weakness. Was I wrong? Or do you fear acknowledging you'd choose similarly given the opportunity? If you were Olivia, would you forgive me? I understand Olivia's heart doesn't harbor pure hatred. She simply yearned for freedom from my overwhelming presence. But can she maintain her grip on everything she's acquired? Or is her current advantage temporary, merely postponing the inevitable day when someone more formidable consumes her, just as I was? Like, if you believe Olivia should grant me forgiveness. Comment if you think my punishment should be greater. But remember this. Do you wish for my return? My imprisonment has an expiration date. Someone of my caliber always discovers a path to endure. Perhaps I'll emerge again. Under a different name. A fresh persona. A new strategy. And when that moment arrives, will you be prepared for Kiley Carter's retribution? Like and comment if you desire a sequel.